I'll come back. 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 I'll come back.
Because fuck. Oh, hold on, it's not working. The sound is not going through where it needs to go through. Please hold.
What have you done? Why would you do this to us?
It just does this. It just decides, oh, I'm gonna be called the default device, and I'm not gonna work because fuck you. But the second you look at me and change me to default device again, I'm going to capture the audio, and it's going to work perfectly every time.
I mean, speaking as someone who changes their audio devices often, I get it. I feel that pain. We're also not professional. We're also, hello and welcome to the Barcast, where the bar gets lower every single week. Your bartenders for this evening are Enigmatic Otaku.
Let loose the no words.
Milk.
I get to say the words.
Ravage.
What up, my slurs?
And I am obsessed with a watermelon game. This week, it has taken a very, very long time, but we got them. We captured them. We brought them back to our hideout, and we're going to learn how their day is. We have Muggonny.
I just wandered in here, and they started recording.
It's true. It's good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
So what your day?
Well, my day is good.
When your day? When your day?
When my day is today.
Yay!
Who says I'm day?
Your dad.
Got him! Speaking of getting it, if you want to get previous episodes of the podcast, you can look on places like YouTube and Spotify where we have uploaded previous episodes, such as Andrea Libman, John Delancey, Dusty Cat, and many, many more. Will I ever say other examples? Check out future weeks as we stream live on Twitch, which means that we're also watching the chat. Hello, my Mochi Red Panda. Hello for your first time chat, which means that we are watching the chat for your guys' questions. And we have a few rules of things that we don't talk about in order to abide by Twitch rules. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about real names. We don't talk about real locations. We don't talk about fandom drama. But we know Muggonny is a big, burly human that isn't afraid of anything. And so we're going to ask them the big questions, like Violon questions, and get uncomfortable in here. It's going to be fun.
Are you guys going to ask me my penis size?
Definitely.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. What's your penis size?
Didn't I show you guys before we started?
I'm sorry. I don't think I was involved in this. But if you'd like to submit a picture for evidence, please DM me right now. Send me a dick.
No one actually liked that. No one actually liked that. So naturally, you'll send it to Enigma.
I will neither confirm nor deny the fact that I am saving pictures of people's penises for fun.
I mean, it sounds about right.
I'm sure we all, but just by in the last 30 minutes, we all just have questionable search things on our computer now.
It's true. We were talking before the cast. We do a kind of a precast thing, and it's not for patrons, not yet anyway. We were talking about trying to figure out what is the most cost-effective way of performing human trafficking. Turns out it's a bus. But anyway.
As we do.
Yes, we were talking about human trafficking. You know it's great. Anyway, let's perform actual interview things, like humans, and not be neurodivergent for like 5 seconds.
Go with that.
Muggonny, let's give you the stock-based questions before we start throwing to this massive thread of love that you have. Who are you and what do you do in the fandom?
My name is Muggonny, and I write fan fiction.
Yay! How did you get into MLP?
I was like 15 years old, I was one of those people. Refused to acknowledged it because My Little Pony is for little girls. Then one day, I eventually caved in. I was like, okay, let's see what the hype is about this because I was an avid fan fiction reader at the time, and I noticed my favorite fan fiction authors would write My Little Pony fanfics. So I watched. First episode I watched was it was the one where they have the sleepover at Twilight's. It was that one. Yeah, I watched it.
You saw my favorite one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Applejack aggressively maked out in Twilight Watch.
that was the best scene. Yeah, I watched that one, and I don't remember what my overall response to it was, but it got me in the mood for more because the next day I went to school and I was just thinking about it, and I just grew to love it.
So what made the jump into fan fiction then? Like, so how did you get into reading fan fiction?
Well, I've been reading fan fiction since I was like 12 years old. It started with reading fan fiction about my favorite Pokemon. Then I read a lot of then it was Sparrow fan fiction, and then I found fanfiction.net, and I thought I knew like the ins and outs of writing fan fiction because I had read so many that I was able to recognize what made a shitty fanfic. Turns out I didn't know what makes a shitty fanfic, and I posted my first story, and it got downvoted into oblivion. But I didn't quit. I stuck around and decided to learn the ropes. So yeah, there was always an interest there.
That's awesome. Like, it's so fascinating to me because Pokemon was one of the first, like, I never thought of it as like fan fiction. I was thinking about it as like people writing like stories of like their characters in the game, like telling their story about like their gameplay as if like telling a D&D style story, you know? I never thought of it as fan fiction. So finally, like, it wasn't until I was on fanfiction.net looking up for someone to rewrite the entire ending of the Hunger Games series that I realized, wait, maybe I have a thing for fan fiction.
Yeah.
And then that's when the floodgates really unleashed, trying to find, gothic Fluttershy with who cuts her wrists, and Big Mac wants to fix her. Anyway, let's get out of that and on to the next question.
Start of the down spiral.
What is your favorite part of the fandom? The online community, fanfics, cons, music? What keeps you here?
I love the general influx of creativity. Sorry, is my microphone working properly?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, the art, the animation, the creative stories that come out of it. That's generally one of my favorite parts of the fandom, and I think it deserves more attention than the negative aspects.
I think it's really fair.
Yeah.
Next question. With Generation 4 being over, and Generation 5 is in what I'm going to call a slump, where do you think Hasbro and the Brony fandom goes from here?
Whatever Hasbro decides, because I like to believe that eventually Hasbro could cave in and decide they want to make an adult-oriented show. And if they do that, the fandom will actually grow again. But until then, it's kind of on a downward spiral until they hire good writers for the current generation. I don't think it's necessarily going to die. It's always going to be there. Look at Trekkies. It's always going to be a thing, even if it's just a small number. Is going to exist because the internet.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's really fair. Do you think they may look at rebooting G4 sometime in the future?
G4? Possibly. Because they kept it over into Generation 5, so I can see them going back to it for Generation 6.
I can see how it can be here. I know how they can do it. G4 sponsored by G Fuel.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that Hasbro should just make an adult-oriented show because that would sell well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if it's just like, well, I don't know how you would market that because, like with Netflix and a lot of the streaming services have very specific like kid-oriented shows. like a part of me almost thinks you would have to go like the Hello Kitty route and have like off to the side. Here's Agritsuko, who's dealing with like themes of stalking and crushing pointlessness of life. But I could see that. Like there's a separate off to the side pony city that's just like we're following this drunkard horse named, I don't know, Berry Punch.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because like I have this fanfic I went to write. I actually daydreamed about it actually getting converted into a show because it's one of those things I imagine it would translate visually. But yeah, she was the main character, and it's just about her finding out she's a clone, and she has to go to space and meet her other clones.
Nice. Yeah. Last question that I got from the boilerplate questions, and then we're gonna get some questions from your past self. Who is best pony?
Do I have to name a pony?
You can name any. Oh, I'm gonna say the phrase. Any creature.
Okay. If we're talking about characters I love writing, it's Motor. But in general, just because I'm a scaly, Enigma, you're gonna hate me. Ember.
I've never really had a problem with Ember. I actually think Ember is like a really good character and fun to work with.
Yeah, she's great. She's got the kissable beak mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
What draws you to Smolder though?
Smolder. So I wrote this fic. It was called Graduating Party. I did like this really experimental thing where I super condensed dialogue to make the tension feel more. And what I got from that is it resulted in like really realistic dialogue. I was really able to home in on her character that way, and it got me to realize I just really love writing Smolder because if you put her in this setting where she's not restricted to the confines of a children dialogue, and she's kind of a potty mouth, but like there's a lot to her personality that's I just really love exploring.
Yeah, she'll be mean to you in the streets and then dress up cute in the sheets.
Yes. What was that line you wrote? Something in the streets, quiet in the sheets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Y'all are gross.
Coming from someone who's neither kawaii in the sheets nor the streets.
See, I just had it in my head that all dragons were kind of tsundere. Like that's just their personality. They don't like to admit when they're wrong. They don't like to draw a lot of attention when they're being nice. They're kind assholes.
They're all illiterate. Yeah. They all
don't. So you mean they're New Yorkers?
Yeah.
I'm fucking walking here.
New Yorkers are tsunderes, confirmed.
All right. Now Muggonny has some questions from the chat.
Hello, this guy.
Total jerk, absolute jerk. I do really love their profile picture, like the little toothy Octavia.
It says OC.
Oh.
I'll share it later.
I dig it. Hello, my future self. This is you from the past. As I am writing this, I am the actual me, and you are different me. No takebacks. Here are my questions. Number 1, do you have a big titty goth GF yet?
No.
Are you enrolled in college yet?
No.
Will you sign my chest?
Sure.
I don't have a marker, but I do have this carving knife. Don't ask why.
If you're cool with that, then yeah, I'll do it.
I can't wait for it to scar over so I can show everyone how bad your handwriting is.
You motherfucker!
You're a real fucking idiot, you know that?
Christ, I wish I could meet you in person so I could strangle you.
Good luck getting laid, you scaly fuck.
Is it against Twitch rules to execute the questioners live on air?
Your mom is against Twitch rules.
Don't talk about my mom.
Your mom is pretty. Our mom is pretty.
She is.
How was your day?
My day was good until you did that laugh.
Good. That was my Muggonny impression.
Was that supposed to be the Florida crackhead laugh?
I mean, kind of. I was trying to remember what character I was basing that off of. I want to say it was a cross between like Mandark and a fucking dolphin.
Well, the Florida crackhead laugh does sound like a dolphin.
That sounds right. Florida Dolphins is a team, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all on crack.
Speaking of crack, Jack of a Few Trades is up next.
Hi, Jack.
Jack of a Few Trades doesn't actually do crack, and they're a really awesome person. What is the best scene you've ever written?
It's hard. Well, currently, it's a scene from Changeling Theory. It's a horror story I wrote. There's a scene in the latest chapter where Silverstream is possessed by this evil entity, and she's forced to relive a dramatic event from her childhood she didn't remember because the event happened before like her brain actually entered consciousness. So it starts with like she starts seeing weird shit, and she goes to talk to Trixie. She's trying to figure it out, and just suddenly she sees like a hand banging on the window, and it just transitions her into her having this flashback to where she's in this the store as a child surrounded by a bunch of adult hippogriffs, and the Storm King's men just comes in and starts killing everyone left and right, and the insanity is like of it is just beyond something I've written before. And what I love about Changeling Theory is it's one of those stories that I'm figuring it out as I go along. And I've had like previous scenes like that where it's like, oh, I didn't know I could write something like that. So I'll probably have a new favorite scene that I'll eventually write.
That's awesome. For those who may not have read Changeling Theory, tell us a little bit about the story. Like, what's its premise?
Okay, so the premise of the story, so it's based off the short story Primal Instinct. I submitted it into the Barcast's Horror in April contest.
Yes.
And it did not win, and for perfectly understandable reasons. I kind of grew to hate the story just because it was one of the stories I wrote at the last minute, so I didn't have time to iron out the fine details. So I wrote Changeling Theory as a response, and it starts out with Starlight goes out to the courtyard to investigate something that scared Trixie, and she finds a dead student, gets chased by a monster, and then she goes back inside, tells Trixie everything that happened. Trixie is really confused because previously she looked scared by what she saw, and then the remote just drops that, oh, I didn't even talk to you at all. So there was like clear implications that like she was talking to a changeling, and that's the starting premise. It somehow devolves into there's this evil spirit that was the Queen Crystal. I cannot speak today. Queen Chrysalis' queen. That can not only possess people, but she can possess more than one person at a time. So the most basic premise I can explain is she is capable of possessing people more than one person at a time, and because she's essentially breaking her spirit apart, she can only do it gradually by forcing them to relive traumatic experiences.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a fascinating premise, and I really love how. I mean, selfishly, I think it's really cool that it was born out of like a Barcast contest, but also I think there's a real way, like there's a really cool kind of like artistic sense of like having that moment. It's like, this thing turned out not the way I would like. I'm going to try and attack it from a different angle. And now you created this thing that you actually really like, and you're fairly proud of.
Yeah. And the best part about that story is I started writing it when I was going through like this major writing block phase. So I
Mhm.
wrote like 5 paragraphs and I sent it to Simeon, who asked questions and is a good writer. You should go read his stuff. I sent to him, and he said, "This is good. You should keep going with it." And I did not know where the story was going to go. Most of the story is a result of me just figuring out where to bring it next, and it's worked out so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next question from Jack is: do you like it when people call you Muggy Poo?
Only you can call me that.
Ah. Any ambitions to do writing or other projects outside of this fandom?
So, I have talked about it. I was going to start a book project around this time because I first conceived the idea for it earlier this year. But I started a new job that just sucked a lot out of me, which I did quit recently. It was going to. I was mainly playing with ideas for a book, but one of them was the idea for a guy who is schizophrenic. He's investigating these leads on a murder, and most of the mystery would come from figuring out how much of the mystery is real and how much of the mystery is just coming from him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe eventually, maybe.
I can definitely relate and understand, like, and don't get up on yourself about like not being able to like pursue it as much as you would like because of the new job and just kind of everyone has their own stuff that they go through and not like how do I get into this? Because I remember like when I was first really getting kind of started in fan fiction, things were kind of taking off. I was like, oh shit, I should actually become like a real ass writer. And I met Pencil, who did is like a serious big deal, actual real writer. And she was just like, like it's so much work. Which I mean, that's not my Pencil impression, but I mean, it's fairly close to something she would say. But exercising in little ways by like sending pieces to short form fiction contests or like send us something that is 1,000 words or less and then we'll rank it against everyone else in the field. Like that's ways that you can kind of begin a writing like under your real name or outside of the fandom journey without like having this massive undertaking like writing a full book. Because I still need to fucking finish Office Love, and that's only 9,000 words. And sure haven't made any progress on that this year.
I still need to read that story.
No, you don't. It's really not good, actually. But
then I'm definitely gonna read it.
Sure. There's a difficulty in like I'm sure everyone here kind of has that experience of like when you go back and read some of your old writing and you're just you there's parts of it that just make you cringe. And imagine having to continually write sequel chapters to something that makes you cringe.
Sounds like a skill issue.
It is a skill issue. That's why I'm playing Souls games now.
Yeah, that's why. I think that's why the Changeling theory works so well. Is because I haven't looked over the other stuff. I haven't done that in a long time. But I had like that. I basically over worry a lot about these minor details that people will pick apart. And so a lot of the story is a result of me explaining those minor details.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to get hung up on the details. I've been there.
Yeah.
Next question. Can you tell me the 3 numbers on the back of your credit card? I forgot mine.
Let me pull it out. Okay, you get a pen.
Okay. All right. I got it.
That's 9. All
right.
1. Okay, that's a 9, 1, and then a 1.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Okay. Be sure to call it so you know where it's at.
All right, hold on. I'm working on it. 1 second.
Swear to God, if he actually calls 911 live on the air. Oh my god.
It's ringing.
Please, I hope you're pretending.
Hello, is this the Krusty Krab? Okay. All right, next question. If there was,
I said hi.
We're going. Little Draco is up next. Hi. If there was a chance to publish a clop without any licensing issues or legal issues in the way, which would you do publicly?
Okay, so obviously he's referring to my breathtaking carnality account. So if any of you out there are degenerates like I am, go read breathtaking carnality stuff. He's pretty good. So this is actually something I thought about before. I would actually like to publish all of my club into a compilation of sorts because I don't think I have any intentions to write a long form club story. All of them are very short enough that you can read all of them in one sitting if you wanted to. So yeah, I think a compilation book would best suit it.
A lot of those kind of compilation clop books actually do really well at like 18 plus vendor halls at conventions. So it's definitely worth it if you get like, even if you can just get a good artist to put up a really like eye-catching cover. And it could, I mean, it's an 18 plus bookstore, so like it could just be a cock. Just have a massive fucking cock as the book cover, and people will be like, "Oh, I want to buy the cock book."
It's just the cock I sent milk.
Yes. All right. Are there any writers you wish to collaborate with in a story in the future?
Not that many. That this is just proof I need to be more active on fan fiction because there are a lot of great writers out there I would like to collaborate with. I just don't know them that well. There is one I'm friends with. We've been trying to start a collaboration for a long time, but we both have our own stuff going on. But Norris the Pony, go read his stuff. He's pretty good. Would love to collaborate with him. Yeah, would love to collaborate with him one of these days.
Yeah, I totally get it. And collaboration with another writer is always kind of tough, especially if you've got differing ideas on how a story should go. Hell, like typically, like when I collaborate with Pencil when we're just screwing around, like I'll write a sentence, then she'll write a sentence, and we'll just go back and forth. And she gets really frustrated sometimes because I'll just make the main character do something really fucking stupid, and she actually had like a solid idea for like a plot that was setting up, and then I just like made the character like jump out of a window and then come back inside and be like I couldn't find something.
After we're done recording here, remind me, and I asked you for collaboration advice, so I know how to approach it if I eventually do it.
Well, actually, like we're a writing podcast, I can just give this advice. Collaborations kind of live and die by their outline, in my opinion. If you have like here generally are plot points, and like both everyone who is collaborating agree on the way that the story should go, or like here's where this starts, this is where this ends, like here's the locations, here are the general feelings of the characters. You can break it down to as far as like here's this paragraph, you can work on this paragraph, I'll do this paragraph, or you do this chapter, I'll do this chapter. The more outlined and the more like exact of a story that you guys have planned going into it, the better it's going to turn out. But if you want to do also random comedy, my suggestion is write up to a certain point and then have someone just like take over and start writing ahead of you based on everything you did, and then like take it back over, go back and forth, and then you'll just have this random shit fest of a story.
Keep writing until you hit a noun and then pass it to the other guy.
Nice. Maybe we should collaborate.
Get fucked from wreck to nerd. Nope. Maybe one day. There was once upon a time, like in the Barcast server, Milk probably remembers this really well, when we just opened like a Google Doc, and we're like, all right, everybody, get everyone in the general like voice chat. Let's write a story, and then 14 people just all started writing at once, and it was just this cancer of a story. I think it's actually on Pen Fiction. Actually, I think it was based on my. I think it was based on Milo Dashi.
We did a story, and then we also did another story at a convention where it was just the 6 of us, and we did the Adventures of J. Edgar Hoover or something.
Yes,
I remember these events. They were very cursed.
I do remember something. Okay, there was a fic. I never actually got around to writing it. I was going to write the introduction chapter. It was going to be a self-insert story, but the rest of the chapters after mine were going to be written by somebody else. I just never got around to writing it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is K-Gooby. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it was I actually talked to you about this. I think you were the one who brought up that FimFiction has a rule against people writing for other stories unless they publish the work on their own account. I don't think FimFiction will allow that since it's a self-insert story, and I would be pretty much in every chapter.
Nice. Next question, personal and close to my heart. What is the best metal music or band that belongs in your fics?
I can't. I don't listen to a lot of metal, unfortunately, but bands. There is this fic I do want to write after I'm finished with this current fic. It's about the villain of the story is a rock star who can who can perform black magic rituals through music. And when I picture this character, I picture a lot of like a hard rock, like ACDC. I almost said even flow. I meant I
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, Pearl Jam. I think of music artists like that for that fic. As for my other fics, can't really name any.
No, that's fair enough. And are you publishing any books? Are you publishing any books soon?
Refer back to Jack.
Fair enough. That said, I had a doorbell ring, so Rav, could you please take Doofa and Tattered Rings' questions?
Tell them I said hi.
Tattered Rings, alrighty. Alrighty. From a storyteller's perspective, how does the inclusion of kink affect your writing process?
Okay, so that's back to my Breton Carnelli account. So when I write Clop, I just come up with an initial premise and I work my way up to the Clop scene. So in a way, it doesn't really affect the process. What really affects the process is how much of the characters that I want to iron out. Because if I'm gonna write a Clop, I like to know the character's personality. So that's the main thing I tackle.
Okay.
Yeah.
What elements make up prose you enjoy reading?
What elements make up prose I enjoy reading? Basically, when he says prose, does he mean the usage of words or something else?
Prose is the structure of the story that you're writing.
Yeah. I guess that there has to be some kind of clarity behind the prose. Not too many words being reused. The right spelling of words. Basically, it shouldn't look like a clusterfest. I can read about just any story, even if the prose are bad. I can still enjoy it because the quality of the work can be really dependent on how good the story is, in my opinion.
True. No, I definitely agree there. Which piece of writing advice you've been given would you describe as bad advice?
Not going to name names because they do write for the site. But somebody once told me your only way of getting good if you just spam stories nonstop. Don't do that. If it works for you, it works for you. Everybody has their own way of getting good. But my thing is, I like to put time and effort into the quality of my stories, and spamming out stories like that, it might do something to the structure of my prose, but I'll probably just end up neglecting the quality of a lot of those pieces I write.
Mm,
I like to, yeah, I like to take time and hyper focus on the small things that make the story great.
hmm. No, I agree. I agree.
Good,
um,
good.
I don't know. I've never been able to do anything like that. Like I'll spam as many stories as possible. I don't know. Well, if you're talking publishing, I wouldn't say spam them because I'm sure that would get I'm sure it would get under people's skin pretty fast.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure FimFiction has like a new rule they put out a couple of years ago where one of the FimFiction users they they got locked out of their accounts, and so they started spamming their old stories onto the new accounts, and there's a lot of backlash of FimFiction had this new rule you can only post a certain amount per day. I don't know how true that is. I didn't look into it.
Hmm.
So, hi, I'm back. Also, so about that. So the bigger problem with that particular user is that they were posting things that already existed under another user on the site. For that particular case, but the FimFic algorithm has a limiting rule where you could release two fics that are the same length, maybe 10,000 words each, and let's say they get the same amount of upvotes, the same amount of like attention and the feature box and all that, and one will get higher bidding on the feature box or more heat at all times, just to the nature of the beast. It's like there's a limit on how much of the box you're able to take over at one point in time.
Okay, yeah, that
So
seems
it's not.
more.
It's a limit of reach more than anything else.
Okay. Yeah, that seems a lot fairer to the other people trying to get into the box.
No, that said, that hasn't stopped. So I know that at one point in time, like someone released 5 stories in a day, and all of them hit the box, and that was a
Yeah, that was
whole thing.
B. I think yeah, I think
That's
B.
right. I remember that. I think it was around that time that I challenged him to that 24-hour write-off too.
I remember that too. Yeah,
That was a shit
it was.
fest.
I believe you guys like interviewed him right around that time.
We did. We did. Sorry, I interrupted. Please continue.
No, you're good. Chatter Drags is up next. You've been getting more and more into OCs. Do you have a particular reason behind this growth?
Yeah. So the person asking those questions, he's a friend of mine. I've been sharing. I've been sharing my OCs with them. Well, I'll post them in the behind the counter, but it kind of started with I was going to write a new fic on my Plump account. It was going to be a Parapony story, and the moment I started writing, I hated it instantly, and I knew why. The reason was because I couldn't get a good understanding of the character I was writing. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna take a bit to come up with the character first. It took me like a day or two, but eventually I just pictured this character. It was like a black horse with a flaming pink hair. And so I was like, that seems like something really cool. I want to put that into like a visualization of sorts. So I commissioned an artist, and shout out to Shara Thaws. He did a good job with the art. But yeah. What's great is it started out with just that, and the artist he kept on sending me all sorts of sketches. The sketches were free, and it kind of develops into this full on lore for the character, and that gave me the idea I can just have this approach to the entire universe. So it went from me wanting to write a clock flick to me just wanting to write a very character based story. And if you guys, I'm gonna post those pictures here in a minute, but yeah, if you have anything you want to say, or just go on to the next question, just go on and do that while I'm doing that.
So my question, I do have a follow-up question on that. Give me your kind of internal perspective on OCs, because a lot of people, especially in this fandom, see OCs as cringe. But I also think that there's a very, very serious level of room for OCs being a very good way to explore concepts and ideas that may not be able to be organically gotten in a way that makes sense through the normal characters of the show. What do you think?
Okay, so the advice I had gotten for a long time, because like not when I first started out around here, but like around the time where I was still figuring out the ropes, I was writing a lot of OC based stories. And the main advice I got was to actually write stories with the main characters, because those are the ones that will get traction. And I think that's kind of where it roots from. People want to read the stories about the main characters. And the thing with OCs is a lot of OC based stories is just based on this is the author's character. They have they have nothing interesting about them. But there are really good OCs like Blackjack from Project Horizons. I love her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Validation, motherfuckers.
But I might be less coherent with my words because I have had a bit to drink already.
No, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Where was I going with that? I think what makes a good character is when the reader understands their personality almost immediately, and if they can understand their personality almost immediately, they can easily identify them, and they'll just be in for the ride. The case I'm going for with these characters is I made something that was eye grabbing, so hopefully people will cater toward them.
Mm-hmm.
But does that answer your question, or should I elaborate more?
No, I think that's really well said. The only other follow up that I have is you mentioned, like you write a lot of OCs, which is great and commendable. I'm not going to ever be like, ugh, gross. Do you think that in general there's a hard line to balance between making something that is entertaining to a wider audience versus making something that is true to your vision? Like, how do I express this properly? Like you said specifically that writing OCs doesn't give you as much traction and it's not what people want to read. How do you bridge that gap? How do you make people want to read OCs?
Just make them interesting. So for the stories where they're not OCs heavy, like Changing Theory, that the bubble, that's another story I wrote. What I did with a lot of those OC characters is I noticed the approach for like most OC characters and stories is they're all just ponies. And what bothers me about that is, so was that a cat?
Yes, don't mind her. She's bitching because she thinks she's hungry.
Okay. Um, but yeah, a lot of OCs are ponies. And what bothers me about that is you have like this wide, diverse world. You can kind of play with that a little more. So I kind of like to insert characters of other species and give them their own unique personalities. And so far that has worked. Like Changeling Theory, there's a scene where they had to board a train so they can make it to Canterlot, and the conductors of the trains are Karens, and it just made so much sense to me because like the train doesn't even have to operate on coal; they can just go Nirak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just
No,
fun
I
little
like
things
that.
like that. Yeah, and then also if you want to see the OCs, they're in behind the counter.
Yay! Oh, she's cute. I like her.
Yes, I love her so much.
So cool. Oh man. Sorry, Rav. I went ham on that. Please continue.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was like, interesting topic. Must ask questions.
Well, I mean, I would interject with my own OCs, but honestly, I really don't have much to offer in this regard. I don't spend as much time on my OCs as I would like.
Well, see,
I'll post mine.
my problem that I've always had with OCs, like personally, I've actually had the problem where I have this internal feeling of like, especially when I got started on 4chan, like OCs are cringe. Like you keep them bland, keep them boring, like make them a character that you would expect in the background that would never take away the eyes from the main character. So like thinking of my main characters from like Office Love. One is like brown on tan. One is dark blue on navy blue. Brand is like brown with black hair, black mane, and it's just like so basic. And then on top of that, like when it comes to characterization and personalities, I'd either base them on people that I had known, or like so that way I could vividly see like who their personality would be, or make them just like a stereotype. And now looking back at all that, it's like, oh god, never do any of those things. You want to really like vivid, descriptive, like you want people to be able to look at that character and be like, yes, they're a main character. Yes. Maybe less edgy, but like you got to find that middle ground, and then you really want them to be you want them to be very nuanced. You don't want a character to be one note. Like there is such a thing as a too supportive character. There is such a thing as like a too. I think I've gotten my point across, but like there's a certain degree where it's like you have to find that middle balance with OCs, and I never think I've struck that well.
I mean, I think it just comes down to practice.
Yeah.
In the case of like my OCs, for example, everybody here is familiar with bug bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I took a couple of like 2 or 3 super simple premises and then built on top of those, like, and then I guess that's where I would say you got your starting point. So you start from there and then you kind of work your way out from it.
And none of this
just lost my train of thought.
None of this is to take away from what Muggonny's been doing. It's actually like it's a wayward compliment in that I feel like Muggonny actually does it very well in the stuff that I've read. And like, if anything, like if you're looking on a good examination on building OCs, I'd really recommend Muggonny's work.
Yes.
What work of mine have you read? Because I think you only read Primal Instinct.
Let me bring up your user and just make sure that I've got it exactly right. Keep in mind, I very rarely read fan fiction these days.
That's cool.
I tried jumping into like real books, and man, I tell you what, sometimes it's hard to get into real books when they don't have like characters that you easily recognize. And H.P. Lovecraft is kind of a drag.
Wings of Fire, my favorite book series. Go read that.
Wait, did you just start reading Lovecraft, or because I have a complete collection and
I started reading some stuff. Let's see. I did read A Green's Hearthwarming. Let's see.
Yeah, that was a present for Petrichord.
Yeah, and Petrichord's Petrichord's really cool. I deeply appreciate everything that we did. I don't talk to Petrichord as much as I would like, and now I've made myself sad. But being able to work together on Jingle Moss, I don't know, like I couldn't have done it without him. Being able to, at very least, like delegate when I was having my emotional lulls and stuff like that. I've read Primal Instinct, obviously.
Shout out to Simeon, by the way. He's the one who wrote the ending for Green Heartswarming, because I had to go to a Christmas party and couldn't finish the story before the submissions closed.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I did read Thy Little Philly Twy. Like, when I was looking back at your old stuff, I was trying to find something that was completed.
I hate that story.
I think it's cute.
I wrote it when I was like 15, 16 years old. I look back on it. I was like, why did I write that? But yeah, it exists. I'll acknowledge that.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I once again have jumped all over the conversation, and we have so many questions.
Right.
God, what
Well,
am I
no,
doing?
actually, you're talking about authors. This next question has to do with that. Are there any authors on FinFic you give credit to for influencing or inspiring you?
Okay, so I'm not just saying this because they're friends. I don't even know if he's watching this right now. Norris the Pony, I really like the way he structures his stories. He's a very, very good writer. I would say some of his style has rubbed off on me. I mentioned Project Horizons earlier. That like the I like the slow development of the story and the gradual revelation of the characters. It's not a story for everybody because of how long form it is, but I think it's an interesting case in point. Um, there's this Spyro fanfic. An old friend recommended it to me. It was called Spyro: the Dawn of Light. Which what makes it interesting is it kind of starts out bad, but the author has been working on it for a really long time to the point to where he's still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this very ongoing story. And what really brings me back to it is he's been working on it so long you can actually see him improve over time and the story gradually becoming better and better. And I love fanfics like that. There's one more. The fanfic that brought me to the site. I don't know if I would like it now, but at the time I was in love with it. It was called The Secret Life of Rarity by Brony Writer.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was very, very cringe back then. I had it in mind that I could develop it into like a full-on movie. So I messaged Brony Ray on like DeviantArt. I didn't even know how to use private messages, so I just commented on his DeviantArt saying, "Hey, I want to try to develop this thing into a movie." And I remember he was building up a lot of hype for it, posting blogs about it and everything. Eventually, it just fell off. And that's actually another thing I did get in contact with him recently. I explained to him I do really feel bad about that, so I want to make it up to you in some way. So I want to kind of write, with your permission, obviously, I wanted to write a Killer Readyverse story. So I might do that in sometime in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nice.
But
it's so nice. Like we've had Brony Writer on the show and talked about that fic in particular. If I remember correctly, maybe you were listening at that point in time and put questions in that thread.
I wasn't.
Oh, darn! I
didn't start. Yeah, I didn't start listening until you guys had Jack of a few trades on. That's what got me into the show.
Oh, that's fair. And I had Jack on. We had Jack on. Gosh, when we were getting ready for Midwest Pony Fest, when Pencil and I were going, I think. We had them the year that I was getting ready for. It was some con I went to with them, and it was a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. What was that thing you were going to about Brony Writer?
Oh, just that they talked about that the Secret Life of Rarity. I know it's very well loved. Even like doing something like writing a story about like Rarity has this idea for a movie, and it is like The Secret Life of Rarity, and the movie goes horribly wrong trying to shoot it. I think that there's a degree of like not only what's that thing where you poke fun at yourself?
Satire, self-deprecation.
A healthy level of self-deprecation, but at the same time, like doing honor to the work.
Yeah. Yeah, I do hope to write that eventually. My idea was I was gonna set it in the Equestria Girls universe and just basically not being respectful to the source material verbatim, but still approach the character in a way that is respectful to the source material, but still do my own thing because that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Alrighty. Well, speaking of interesting characters, best student 6 and why is it Smolder?
Well, when I write her, she's the best.
I mean, have you seen the
That's some
competition?
pretty bold words there. Care to back it up?
Okay. So like, a character I can relate to. If we're talking about favorites, Ocellus is kind of up there with my favorites because I'm a little anxiety baby and I identify a lot with her. But Smolder, she's just a joy for me to write. I would put her in anything if I could.
Mm.
And then there's Silverstream, who like stares, and that's her only character trait. And there's Yona, who's headstrong, figuratively and literally.
You say that, and yet Silverstream has probably one of the best character arcs later in the show.
There's a scene in a Great's Hearts where it's just a line that Semyon wrote when it came to his turn to write it. But it got me to question so much about Yona's character. The line is, "Yona has the most stabbing experience."
Oh my god!
I love that.
Yeah.
Either you said she has the most stabbing experience or the most dabbing experience, and either one doesn't sound
Stabbing.
very good.
Stabbing.
Stabbing.
That's not what I heard. I heard daddy experience. I'm like, excuse me?
I heard stabbing or
No.
dabbing.
I need to go to fucking horny jail. I swear to Christ.
I don't know. I kind of want to see Yona dab.
Sure, it exists.
I mean, I'm sure I summon shakes with that, but anyways. All right, are we ready to move on to the next question, or do we want to stay in horny jail?
No, go for it. No, go for it. We have so many questions in this thread. I'm already worried about us for time.
Right. Halters and horse tack, yes or no, and are they lewd?
Yes. Yes and yes.
Yes and yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Right back to horny jail we are. All right. Number 5. And you're not gonna leave us anytime soon, are you?
I have no plans to now.
Yay.
What have you seen?
We are happy, and that covers Tattered Rags.
All right. Norris the Pony's up next. That person.
Hi, Norris.
That individual. Have you ever dramatically changed your opinion on one of your own works after publishing it? Loved a story you used to hate, or vice versa?
The aforementioned Die Little Philly Twy. Primal Instinct. Okay, so that was a story that garnered a mixed reception. Very understandably so, because the way it was written, it was not meant to be for everybody. The main thing that was off-putting was just the jarring transitions. A lot of people theorized that I was just trying to meet the word count in time. That was not true. I was mainly experimenting with this idea I just did not think would work. But I do go back to that story, and the pros are nice. There's a nice thriller aspect to it. So my respect for it has gone up a little bit since. Life of Twy. That was a sequel to Die Little Philly Twy. I was going. That story, it's I consider it like the start of like my modern writing style, because it was kind of like the first time I really started to actually develop my ideas. And there's a lot of creative thoughts in there, but it can be a drag to read through sometimes. So I would not recommend it to anybody. But it is a fic that I will acknowledge that I do give some credit to.
No, that's fair, and it's important to be able to give yourself a little credit on, like, you were a different person when you wrote that, and you had a different skill set. Next, go for it.
Sorry. By the way, when I wrote that story, I finished it while I was sitting in the library, and I feel bad for this, but at first I thought that day was like senior skip school day because I was in high school at the time. Then I figured out, I don't think today's senior skip school day. Oh, well, when I go to the office the next day, I would just tell them I thought it was senior skip school day, and they let me off easy. And then the next senior, and when senior skip school day actually happened, I just went to school. So I skipped school to write My Little Pony fanfiction.
Oh God, I had a really terrible like quiet joke, and then I realized I really shouldn't say that on air, so we're gonna move on.
Send it to me.
Okay. Next question is: are you a dead silent psycho or listening to music while writing Chad?
Most of the time, it depends on what mood I am, but the majority of it is I'll listen to. I'll listen to movie soundtracks to get me into the mood, like the Interstellar soundtrack. I listen to that a lot. I the everything everywhere all at one soundtrack. I also like to listen to that one. Those are like the main two I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading. I won't read it out loud, but I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Up next, what's your third favorite author? I don't care about your first or second.
Third, fuck. Okay, this is how fan fiction illiterate I am. I don't think I can name my third favorite. What did he say? If fan fiction author or just author?
Just author in
okay.
general, yeah.
Okay, so I want to. I guess I could consider him one of my favorites, even though I have like a lot of issues with this work. Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
I can pick up any one of his books, and I'll almost always finish it. The reason why like I'm hesitant to put him on like my favorites pedestal is because he kind of builds his own cliches. If you've read any one of his works, you can almost always guarantee a sex scene that doesn't belong in there. I'm just gonna go against this question and name my first favorite, David Foster Wallace.
Nice. That's an author I've always meant to like really begin getting into. But I am an illiterate baby and decide
Audiobooks.
I know. And that's really what I need to do because I do enjoy podcasts that are good. I don't listen to our own podcast.
Oh,
um,
go read his. I'm throwing out recommendations right now.
Yeah.
Go read his essay compilation. Consider the Lobster. They are real. I really listen to them sometimes when I'm at work, and he has this way of writing an essay that's very informal, captivating, and just generally entertaining.
Interesting. I did hear that some of his writings may have been a serious influence on like YouTube's kind of current essay culture, or at least like what do they call those like analysis YouTubers, the essay YouTubers?
Video essayist?
Yeah, video essay. I could be entirely off, but nah, it's whatever. What is the maximum amount of knife wielding 6-year-olds you think you could take in a fight?
Okay, so like if in this scenario I can use one of the children as a weapon, I think I could take as many on as possible until they tire me out.
That is fair. That is fair. My question is if you were able to like roll for charisma and convince them to not use the knives and fight you like real children.
I would deck them.
just fucking punch them. Just get them.
Yeah. What are they gonna do? Tell their parents they're the ones assaulting me.
That's fair. Where are the parents in this fight? I'll fight them too.
One of the parents are the children.
Fair.
What they take care of themselves. And I'm beating up orphans.
Speaking of orphans, the next question is, what's something you were taught when you were younger that turned out to be total bullshit?
I wasn't taught it, but like it's like the first thing. Well, the obvious one of the obvious things, which I can't get into because no politics rule.
Yeah.
The stuff with Abe Leakend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how he totally cared about lots of things.
He
It wasn't really indifference.
he needed the Civil War like he needed a hole to the head.
Yeah. But one of the things it wasn't necessarily taught. Well, technically, I was because it was brought up in like a documentary. My science teacher showed in my freshman year. One of the kids in the class, he brought it up very matter of factly that glass is actually a form of ice that melts over time. That's like the main thing I remember, and the reason why I remember that is because I remember watching a video prior to that actually described how that was a myth, and it was actually proven wrong when this. Don't remember the name. I don't remember if he was a scientist or whatever, but he actually experimented with the idea and he managed to prove it false. That was a thing that was taught for some reason, and I don't know why it was taught at all.
Yeah, it's crazy how education experiences can vary amongst individuals in the world. Thumbs up face, staring at the webcam. Are you getting any rain up your way?
Not at the moment.
Okay. I love rainy weather. Like it is seriously. There was at one point in time I was looking for really good like ways to kind of boost writing and boost focus, and I got this app called Ohm Writer. And it was great for a while because it had this like built-in soundtrack. And you could hear for a while, like it would play a little piano music or calm like synth sounds, and I really liked the rain sound it had on it until I heard when it looped, and then I became very obsessive about it's going to loop right now, and I just like it would distract me every single time.
So Norris just messaged me. That question he just asked, I feel bad for not getting this. It was a No Country for Old Men reference.
Oh.
Yeah, good movie.
Why don't you hold still while I put this rod up to your forehead?
All right. Very, very quickly, we'll do our ad read because we are halfway through. 100% of our profits and proceeds for the podcast go to Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in mid-California. There, we sponsor a horse named Little Bit that our server and Patreons have voted on, and we are really bad at getting videos out, but we do have an interview with the horse that we want to upload at some point in time. We're just very bad about it. And if you would like to support what we do and try to make us look like a legitimate business, because we don't take any money for ourselves, consider donating to us on Patreon. We also accept bits on Twitch. And we'll read out your name at the end if you subscribe the most bits. So thank you. Appreciate it. Ice Star is up next, who has so many questions. I'm going to try and flash through them because I don't think a whole bunch of them are serious. First one, what is your SSN?
Sorry, I was taking a piss. What was it?
Next question is, what is your least favorite color?
Yes.
What are your top 3 favorite types of cancer?
Breast, and more breast, please.
It's a great fucking
question. I thought the first one you said was priest, and I was like, yes, okay, what are the other 2? What is the best writing advice you have and the worst?
Best writing advice I heard: to figure out your own thing. Don't take others' advice for granted, but keep them in the back of your mind. Just don't get too confused. Worst advice: I mentioned it before. Spam stories until you're good.
Yep, that sounds right. What fills you with psychological dread?
The idea that I will never be able to achieve that mind state I had when I was younger.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
That's actually what Changeling Theory explores.
Oh my God. Well, now go read it. Oh God. What's one pudding flavor you could live without?
Tapioca, because I never had it.
You fucking whore. Does your mother love you?
Yes.
How often do you cry?
If it gets me to sleep every night.
Oh God. What are your opinions on Albania?
Never heard of it.
What's the worst flavor of soap you've ever tasted?
Dove.
The brand? Or just the fucking bird?
Yes.
God. Okay. What are your favorite and least favorite episodes of MLP?
I have not seen MLP in a long time. I keep meaning to binge watch it. The one that comes to mind is when Rainbow Dash becomes a Wonder Belt. That was very cringe, the way they approached it. Favorites, I guess the first one I watched. I need to rewatch the series.
The cringe episode. You talk about the one where she has to sit still in front of Twilight, and then she's on the stool. The Wonder Votes finally just say we're gonna let Rainbow Dash on the team, and Rainbow Dash is trying to make a good impression. So she decides to pretend to be all of her friends.
Go away.
I like that episode where she's just adopting all of her friends' personalities.
I fucking hated that episode. I agree with you, Muggonny. Like, the biggest thing that I was frustrated with the show, and I couldn't get over it for the first, 5 to 10 minutes, it's just like, here's this thing that Rainbow Dash has been fighting for a long time, and it's just like, oh, you got it! Yeah. In, the first 5 minutes. Before the credits even roll. It's just like, oh, well, that took all the fun out of it.
Yeah, and to be fair, I only watched that episode when it first came out, so my memory on it is a bit vague, but I do look back on it, and I do agree with Priest. It happens way too fast.
She did all that for a call sign. Meanwhile, I remember while watching that episode, I remember thinking to myself, I know what Spitfire's call sign is. It's spit roast.
Oh, God.
Y'all are terrible. Okay. Which organs are you willing to part with and why?
You can have my heart and my lungs, because if I don't... Oh my God, that's dark. If I don't have to live on this earth anymore, then at least I'll know somebody else is happy.
God, that's sad.
Sorry, I finished my beer.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And lungs is just like a cool drone, just like that cat body.
All right. How many chromosomes do you have?
How many? What do I have?
Chromosomes.
Chromosomes? All of them.
Nice. Me too.
You know what? Just because you're such a good boy, you get to have one extra chromosome.
How does Steve Harvey make you feel?
So I'm actually a very big fan of comedy. If anybody has questions about comedy, I'd be more than happy to answer them, because I'm a big nerd about that. I've seen his stand-up. His stand-up is I think he's a good game show host. He's very good as a game show host.
I feel like he's really good at reacting. But I feel like a lot of his comedy is very situational.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is also very there's this joke where he's talking about scuba diving, and he describes it as if he's some sort of cartoon character, which, in my opinion, it doesn't really translate to stand up well, because you're describing a visual gag. You have to communicate verbally. So I think there could be a lot better things done, wordplay wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember once upon a time, Comedy Central gave Larry the Cable Guy his own show, and it just died because his bit that worked in stand-up did not translate to a TV show well.
Yeah, I tried watching one of his specials. I'm not that big a fan of his, but I did watch one of his specials, and it just opens with him farting on stage. It's not part of the joke. He's just farting to let gas out.
See, it was this very... I feel like... I don't know what happened to us during... Oh, never mind. I remember what happened during that period of harmony. 9/11 happened. I'm moving on.
Yes.
So, who are 3 people that make you wish you could give friendship bracelets to, living or deceased?
The 3 people I want to get friendship bracelets to, living or deceased?
Mm-hmm.
Any 3 of you guys.
Aww.
Aww, it's so gay.
Did anyone
Too
go to your...
Enigma's dead.
Yay. Did anyone go to your birthday parties as a child?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Did they get the
They
party?
totally went.
Did they get the party favors that your mom slid $5 into in each one?
Oh God, that's a fucking feeling.
Yeah.
I actually had a friend back in the day. I went to an anime convention with them, and I really wanted to go, and I was excited. And their mom gave me $20 for like being their friend, and I felt really bad. But then I got lunch with it, and I felt fine. So
I think that bad feeling was just hunger.
maybe.
Mhm.
What is the worst name for a band?
Pussy shitters.
That's a band. Can you name 7.5 people you would never cannibalize?
7.5 people I would never cannibalize. No, I can't.
Cool.
Wait. Okay, I do have a list of people. Flutter Priest, Flamio, Random Ass Vehicle, MILKKKK, Enagme Otaku, and that sixth person who said she would be here.
Fucking get wrecked and forgotten in non-pencil. Next question. What type of pasta doesn't deserve to exist?
Fettuccine.
Oof.
Which one is that one? I need a picture.
It's the fettuccine one.
What? There's no such thing as fettuccine pasta.
Fettuccine!
You do not know. You do not know.
Fettuccine.
You son of a
yes,
bitch!
I did! I am smart and a good writer!
I was sitting here enjoying my fucking drink, and then that fucking nonsense comes out. What in the absolute fuck?
You caused milk.
What in the absolute fuck?
You caused milk to unmute willingly. That is impressive.
I was invited to this podcast. I'll leave this podcast.
What is your favorite swear word?
Oh, I was about to leave, but then you asked that question. Fuck.
What would it take to make you snort earthworms?
How much are you paying me?
Are they alive or dead?
What is the gayest thing you can do without being gay?
Jerk a man off for money.
That's fair. What's the worst aisle to pee in at Walmart?
Toys.
Okay, I actually need to go to Walmart, so I'm keeping that note. All right. Rob Catron53, also known as that guy who wrote My Little Dashie, has questions for you. Which smells worse, your left foot or your right foot?
Let me check.
I mean, props on you for having the flexibility to smell your toes.
Okay, I think it's my right foot.
Aw. Okay. Now it is time for Vylon story time. Please note I am horribly drunk, so good luck with this, they say. Imagine you got stuck on the shitter at a sperm bank with no toilet paper. You went in there just to donate the life-giving essence of stickiness to pass along to some midlife crisis bimbo who wanted to have a kid without the nagging, probably drunk husband around. Instead, halfway into the stroke, you felt a brown Betty coming on, so you decided to crack the porcelain. However, once done with both activities, you discover the horror of no TP. However, there is some hope, as this particular sperm bank is in the lower end of Detroit and didn't ask for your questionable medical history, but at the price of things being clean or even remotely up to date. Looking around, there are only 2 items in reach, and the copper pipes have already been stolen from the sink. So what you're left with is the December 1998 National Geographic, the one with the holographic cover. To your right, a newspaper dated September 12th, 2001, with the Twin Towers as a headline. Which do you sacrifice to wipe your poop chute? Which do you sacrifice to wipe down your softening baby batter splatter?
Good luck, roaster. I'll wipe my ass with a 911.
There's a quote. Also, Vylon, wherever you are, I still love you. You haven't changed a bit. Please don't.
That's Rob. That was Rob writing as Vylon.
Hit me with the harder nylon
Oh, damn.
question.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is Vylon assumed on Rob's form. Understood. That's beautiful.
Famous is up next. Would you rather be schizophrenic or bipolar?
Okay, so I did do a bit of schizophrenic research for that book project. I remember I mentioned I wanted to write, and I have a sister who is bipolar. I think being bipolar would be kind of a nightmare, just because you're not in proper control of your emotions the entire time, and it just fluctuates nonstop. Where like a schizophrenic, you can treat schizophrenic much easier than bipolar disorder. I think if I'm wrong, then please somebody call me out, because I do want to understand the stuff, so I don't come off as disrespectful. But schizophrenic, you can. Sorry,
they're both very different. I mean, they're both difficult. The trouble with bipolar is a lot of people misdiagnose bipolarism as just like depression. So like they'll take SSRIs and then like the lows aren't as bad, but the highs are like worse. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And with schizophrenic pills, like they help, but they don't always take care of everything. And there's a lot of experimentation to figure out what works for you. Just like any other pill, it's tough. It's tough. I had a friend. She was schizophrenic, and man, when she was off her bed, she would have very bad times.
Was it auditory or visual for schizophrenic for her?
I believe it was mostly auditory, but it was like having that little voice in the back of your head, just like a person behind you in the room. Not like an occasional thought of like, wow, I really suck at this. It is a person who's like, wow, you should really kill yourself.
Jesus.
Like, that's rough. That is rough.
Yeah. Now that you bring it back, I'm not too sure.
They're both rough, and I wouldn't wish mental illness on anyone. Cheers. Howie your day. Drink.
I'm all up here.
Are you left-handed?
No.
How do you feel about the Jonas Brothers?
They had a show when I was a kid that was on Disney Channel. I don't remember anything about them. I have not listened to their music, so I do not feel a thing for the Jonas Brothers. They could die tomorrow, and I'd be like, oh, that's sad. Anyways, I'm gonna continue this.
But your great granddaughter is doing fine.
What was that?
Enigma, you can't just not reply as soon as your joke doesn't land. You have to repeat it.
Say it again so I can laugh.
They are typing.
Okay.
People entered the room. That's probably why they just stopped. Anyway, what band was more impactful to the late 2000s deathcore scene, Whitechapel or Suicide Silence?
I don't know any of this. Famous,
I got you. Suicide Silence is more impactful in the late thousands, but Whitechapel has more staying power and more relevant music today. Anyway.
Yes, that.
Whitechapel's honestly just better.
I personally agree with that, but also I've been getting into Suicide Silence's earlier stuff, so it's pretty good. You Only Live Once is a really good song.
I'll check that out.
Anyway, I liked your sweater that you wore that time you stayed at my house.
Thank you. I don't remember which sweater it was, but thank you.
Up next, we have Gail Mays. If you love soup so much, why don't you marry soup?
Hang on. I gotta pull a thing up. He's doing that thing from Renegade Angel.
Soup store?
Angel. No, Shaka Shiri Showdown. Scripts. Okay.
I can't believe Renegade Angel was a thing that was allowed to be made.
It's Adult Swim. What do you expect?
I mean, I expect more Moral Oral, you fucks.
Moral Oral was great. I love Moral Oral.
So good.
Soup. Okay, read it to me again.
If you love soup so much, why don't you marry soup?
Because I'm already married to Justice.
That was okay. That's good. Are you so dumb you even answer rhetorical questions?
I don't know. Do you?
Nice. You got a license to sell hot dogs, Chico man?
No, they wouldn't give it to me because when I was filling out the application, my penis was sticking out.
It's so fucking dumb.
That was so like I was actually going to ask those sets of questions from Renegade Angel when I wrote my questions, but I saw that he already did that, so I just backpedal on it. But my favorite line is if you love soup, why don't you marry soup? Because I'm already married to Justice. Yeah, only a blind girl would marry you.
I love that, actually. That's really good. RK Striker JK5 is up next. What is your favorite non-MLP franchise?
I've already established that I'm a Spyro fan. I'm a fan of a lot of franchises. I love Uncharted. I was actually playing Kingdom Hearts earlier today. I don't think I described that as my favorite, but I do like the first game a lot. Never played the second. Tried playing the second one yesterday, but I'm playing on emulator and it crashes every time I'm trying to travel between worlds. But main one would be probably just be Spyro.
Yeah. What's the name of the Spyro girl that's really hot and hits on Spyro all the time?
Ember. Are you talking? Yeah, there's Ember. Smart fans go for Cinder.
She's like the deer. That's
oh, that's the font. The font. That's I almost said Eleanor. That's not her name. Now I can't think of her name. Laura, yes. Why can't I think of her name?
Yeah,
I was gonna say that her name was Fawny the Fawn.
People are all over Allura in the Spyro universe.
Yeah.
I love Spyro. Always makes me want Subway for some reason.
Yeah, people shit on Ember because she's just basically the Amy Rose of the universe.
I don't know about that one.
I am just gonna move to the next question because I want to ignore everything that Flam just said. Have you ever done anything with a non-MLP franchise?
Ever done anything for a non-MLP franchise? I've written a little bit of Sprout fanfiction and it never went anywhere. I wrote this thing called The Gray Rainbow. I wrote like one chapter, never continued it. First fanfic was also a Sprout fanfic. It was I wrote it on DeviantArt. I did not know how to operate DeviantArt, so I would just write it in the blogs. I would write it in the blogs of DeviantArt.
Nice.
I think I think those are the only things I have written outside of the fandom.
All right. Next question is from Bandy. What's the best fic you've read so far this year? It can be MLP or non-MLP.
Fuck. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat because, like, with my new job, I haven't had time to read a lot of fan fiction. So I'm just gonna cheat and say Project Horizons because I'm still reading that motherfucking story.
What are you on?
I'm getting close to the halfway point. I think I'm close to 40 chapters. I think.
No. Explain what's the last event that happened that you remember.
The last event that happened, I remember. Blackjack has sex with the Bat Pony.
That does not narrow it down.
Yes, it does. He's about in the middle of the book.
Yeah. She has sex with the Bat Pony to feel better about the thing that happened to her earlier in the story.
Both.
Yeah.
Next question. When are we starting that rock band?
So this is actually something I approached both Bandy and Priest about.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that fanfic character I mentioned, that the villain
that
can perform black magic rituals using music. The more I got invested into the character, the more I got into invested in the idea. I should find some people and commission an original song for the fic. So there's a lot to that. I need to find the right people. I need to find a female vocalist because the character is female. I need to play somebody who can play the guitar because that's what she plays. And also, I need to get a new job because I just quit mine, and I want to make sure the artists are paid for their time.
Mm-hmm.
Those. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, those are the main. Those are all like the main reasons, and it's probably going to be a minute before I even do that.
Now, Flame, you've joined. Would you like to take questions from Flutterpriest and Vylon?
I unfortunately cannot. I'm still observing it for work.
Oh, big sad. That's fine. Enigma, do you have people around?
Yes, I have people around. No, I cannot read Vylon.
Okay, I will take these questions then. It will be upon me. Flutterpriest asks, why are you like this?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, Flutterpriest, why are you like this?
I mean, mostly depression, but...
My second answer is therapy isn't free.
Yes, that's actually super fair. Fucking... rumble. Vylon is up next, and I don't have pencil here, so I have to... It's time for questions with Vylon!
That was Mickey Mouse, and I loved every fucking bit of that.
Wait, did she actually write something, or I think Nook needs to refresh the page because it says, "How are you today?" Oh, go ahead and ask it, please, and I'll pretend I didn't read it before you.
How are you today?
Is that question supposed to piss me off?
Yes.
It's how your day, Vylon.
Get it together, Vylon. Do you even watch the cast anymore? God,
yeah.
that made me sad. It's true.
Wait, we're recording?
Fuck. We're going to the next question. Civilian is up next. I actually quite like Civilian. Civilian's a good bean. I remember them through Jingle Moss stuff.
I love him. He's a good writer. Read his stuff.
Number 1, when are we robbing that bank?
Tomorrow.
Number 2, when are we robbing that bank?
Okay, if you got the plans together, we can do it tonight.
Yeah! Rob the bank.
Yo, let's go.
Number 3, I saw this movie once that quoted a writer that was like, by the time you're 18, you've gathered enough material to write about for the rest of your life. Or something. I was wondering what your childhood trauma is so that you're trying to escape from writing by pony fanfics in 2023.
So I can't make that joke.
That's one of the worst parts about being on fucking Twitch is sometimes you just have this like, oh, I gotta check myself there. Can't do that.
I was viciously attacked by a pony dressed as Twilight Sparkle as a child, and this is my way of coping. There you go. That's my trauma.
That's fair. What is your Dairy Queen order?
So the Dairy Queen in my area has been closed down for quite some time. I think it's been about 10 years now. I did manage to go to a Dairy Queen in the town nearby. That was earlier this year, but somehow it closed just months after I went there. But
Dairy Queen's not doing too hot.
Yeah, it sucks because their blizzards are amazing. But there you go. That's my order. A blizzard.
The only thing that Dairy Queen does well is ice cream. I don't know why they keep thinking that they can do hot food.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. They got some pretty good burgers in my location.
It must be like regionally then, because when I used to go to Dairy Queen, like I would go to any other fast food place other than Dairy Queen. The thing that I thought was probably best from Dairy Queen is if you're really high and you wanted chicken tenders. You could get passable. You could get passable chicken tenders and dip them in ice cream.
I used to order their ice.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say something pointless. I was just going to say I used to always order their chili. What was it you were going to say?
No, you're good. It took me a minute to realize what you said.
Okay.
I've never actually had their chili. So I used to work for Sonic, and I can tell you it is absolutely a regional thing. They usually break up regions by like small districts. So one half of Colorado will be one district owned by one specific set of people. It's kind of like the people that own the district lease out to the restaurant to have that restaurant there. So it's kind of like it's like having a senator of your part of the state kind of a thing. And I know for a fact Dairy Queen does the same thing. So it depends on who their distributors are, whether or not they service the entire state or just that district, because that's a thing. It's kind of like why we don't have the Chicago dogs here in my area of Colorado, because the district doesn't think they sell well, even though they're the best hot dog that Sonic sells. It's the same thing with Dairy Queen. I've been to some that absolutely fucking suck. For example, mine, they don't freeze the ice cream hard enough, so it melts almost as soon as you get it. But I order their Flamin' Hot Burger, like the triple stack one, and it is so freaking good.
Nice. I want to go to an A&W restaurant because I've never been to one of those.
I've been to one. They're not half bad.
They're fine. Yeah. They're about on par with Dairy Queen.
I've never been to a Crackle Barrel. Flam's gonna take me once, but they were like closed or something.
Cracker Barrel is terrible.
The ones here are pretty good.
Okay, I'm speaking specifically of Midwest along the highway Cracker Barrel.
I used to live in Missouri. Our Cracker Barrel was fine. It might just be you, Priest.
Maybe I just have too high of standards.
That too, honestly. Which is not a bad thing.
Number 5. What's your favorite thing you've ever put in your mouth? Oh, sorry. What's your favorite thing you've ever written? I thought. Never mind.
What? What? How do you mess that up?
That's a normal question that gets asked by one of our weekly readers. It's like, it's usually one of Alex's questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing you've ever written?
Changeling Theory.
Cool. Would you put it in your mouth?
The favorite thing I put in my mouth. You.
Number 6. Send me your credit card info. We got 911.
Okay. I'll write the list to you via mail.
Nice. Be sure to put a stamp on it.
Yeah. Yes.
Alex _ is next. How many spiders have you eaten in your life?
I've none, I hope.
So
number 2.
Unfortunate.
And number 2, what is a secret you've never told anyone?
Secret. Yes.
Yes.
Today, Junior.
I don't have a lot of secrets. I guess some of the shit I jack off to. Does that count?
That does count.
There you go.
Everyone has some things that they will never admit that they did that before, and that's fair.
I mean,
everyone has one hidden fetish that they will refuse to tell anyone, even those closest to them.
Absolutely.
I've confirmed this with everyone I've talked to for the most part.
Technically, it's not a secret because it is on my alt accounts.
Fair. All right, let's scroll on down to the last two posts. We've got Lucky 7 up next. What is your favorite film role from the great Tom Hanks?
I have not seen a Tom Hanks movie in a long time, I guess.
It's fine. He really takes the piss out of his roles. Yes. Castaway is one.
Castaway's a good movie. Yeah.
Nice.
I think the most recent Tom Hanks movie I saw, I was going to say The Terminal, but wasn't he in Oppenheimer?
I don't know, actually. I haven't seen Oppenheimer.
I know he was in Elvis.
I think he is. I think he had a supporting role in that movie, but I don't remember what it was. I've only ever seen like screen caps of it.
The one of his that I like is that movie with the Somalian pirates.
The one I saw most recently, which was like last year, was The Terminal, which I did not like, mostly because it's based on a true story and was pretty much it was without going to politics, it was clear whitewashing.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks movies where he's the lead are just movies where he's stuck in places forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corey Pease.
I mean, you're not wrong. I can remember one of his earlier movies was called Big, if anybody remembers that one.
Oh yeah, of course. God, that's a childhood classic.
You unlocked something.
Talking about childhood trauma.
I want to watch. Damn it! Now I want to watch that movie. I'm gonna go. I'm going on Amazon.
Go ahead.
Do you think his character in Castaway had sex with Wilson?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Oh, Wilson!
It's different with an Ona Hole. Number 2. Have you ever had the urge to get into filmmaking?
So I brought this up. Like I have like I used to be interested in being like a filmmaker.
Yeah.
What kind of killed that is just like understanding I don't have the time, talent, and resources to be a filmmaker. So like I kind of limited my scope to something that's more realistic in my eyes. I'm more interested in being a screenwriter, but with the recent writer strikes, it's got me to realize I might just be better off just doing independent work. I just hope that one day I can find that the time, money, and resources to develop my own projects, if it ever comes down to that.
I have a real life friend, like a human, that is very interested in getting screenwriting and getting into Hollywood and stuff like that. And I'll the same advice I would give to them is the advice that I would give to everyone listening is the best thing you can do to start getting into a field is putting in the work.
Yes, that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
I would love to go to film school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you figure too, if you look at the quote unquote quality of what we're getting, you can always just say, hey, I can do a better job than that. Prove it. Go out there and fucking do it. Prove it.
Yeah. That is a good point to make. That logic kind of has like there's a good and bad side to that logic. The bad side to that logic is that's a result of most of Netflix's current media states.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not just talking about Netflix, but go on.
Yeah. The good side to it is it has led to a lot of creative people getting recognition out there. But the most obvious one that comes to mind is that the Spider-Man fan film that guy made that got a lot of shit for Twitter reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Give me one pro and one con each from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Okay. Breaking Bad. It hits some slow points.
Yes.
Very good. It's a very good show, but there are points where like they'll be exploring something, they hit like this really high mark, and then it just slows down for a little while, which obviously that's up to you to determine whether that's good or bad or not. Better Call Saul, it's both like a kind of a criticism, but also what I really enjoy about it. It's much slower than Breaking Bad. because it's way more focused on the characters and slowly developing them. But in some ways, I can picture somebody just watching it and just wanting the plot to move on.
Mm-hmm. I personally enjoyed Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad. If I didn't make any criticism, it's that the final 3 to 4 episodes of Better Call Saul are unwatchable if you haven't watched Breaking Bad.
Really? Oh, okay. I get what you mean. Okay.
That's my only criticism.
The only way for me to argue against that is if I hadn't seen Breaking Bad before Better Call Saul, so I cannot make a fair argument against that.
I actually showed Better Call Saul to some people who had never seen Breaking Bad before. They got into that because Breaking Bad was too, I'll use the word edgy for them. And they just like the final few episodes ruined the show for them.
I'm trying to figure out how.
Yeah, because I watched Fiona and Cake to a friend who hadn't seen Adventure Time, and they had a very easy time following along with it.
So interesting. The fundamental thing was that they thought that between the end there and all of the darkness the black and white areas that are supposed to happen after Breaking Bad ended, that there was too different of a character change. And they missed all of that character development that you see from the original show and how he grew and became kind of dark. So to Better Call Saul's credit, it did a really good job at showing what Saul was like in the beginning and how he wasn't inherently a bad person in the beginning, but then you missed out of all the shady shit that happens during Breaking Bad and the continuation of the decline that began in the original show.
Yeah. So. Yeah. When it comes to shows like that, like when I mentioned I was showing a friend Fiona and Cake, since she hadn't seen Adventure Time, when I got to like an important part where I had to explain the lore, I would do that for her. Because of that, she had like an easy time following along. If I was showing somebody Better Call Saul and they didn't have an understanding of Breaking Bad, once we got to those final 3 episodes, I would do exactly that so that they're following it real well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's totally understandable why they just fell off it with those last 3.
Yeah. Anyway, number 4, Barry this Monday.
Yeah, sure. Good show. Go watch that. It's my favorite show right now.
Number 5.
I found it.
Die.
Die. Sure, I'll die.
Please don't.
Okay.
Yay. And Mystical Rainboom is up next with a particularly neon Celestia. What does your inner voice sound like?
My inner voice? That's actually a really good question. My inner voice is a lot more coherent than my actual voice.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of narrate to myself. Like I have like one of those like I'm very imaginative. So whenever like I'm imagining an event or I'm imagining a scene from a story I'm writing, I kind of it comes out verbally kind of. I'm mostly mumbling it and I'm doing weird mannerisms. I don't know if I can talk about this. It's because it's technically not politics. So I was walking through town once because I didn't have a vehicle at this time, and at the time I was working at the furniture store, and the furniture store is right beside the local theater, and at the time I was picturing a certain dictator giving his speech, and I remember his memorisms. I was like, okay, maybe I can do those memorisms, and I was copying the mannerisms of this man who we will not name. And as I was doing that, the owner of the theater was taking out the trash.
That's fucking hilarious.
So yeah, my inner voice is very it's just very dependent on just how deep in my thoughts I am in.
Next question. Do you have a story you ignore or pretend doesn't exist?
Well, I can't say that because it doesn't exist.
Fair enough. And number 3, what is on a perfect burger for you?
Okay, it's going to be buns. That's the obvious.
Yes.
Okay, there's the patty.
Mm-hmm.
There's the cheese.
There.
There's the pickles,
Uh-huh.
ketchup, mustard, lettuce,
yes,
tomato.
Got
it. Okay.
That's it.
Yes.
That is a perfect burger. Yes, this is very good.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to get creative and I like to put the fries on the burger.
Yeah, I like it. I like fries on the burger.
And here's the good part about the lettuce. Okay, when I was working my old job recently, they had a cafeteria. Sometimes they would give out burgers, and one time the top bun fell onto the floor, so I got creative. I used the lettuce as the top bun, and it ended up being very good.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like lettuce burgers. That they're very popular. It's a good way to not do carbs.
Yes, very crispy too. That's my favorite part about it.
Yes. Question from the chat. Burke Yeast asks, "What is your favorite kind of pie?"
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin is good and in season right now.
Yes.
Yeah, just avoid the Walmart pumpkin pies. I tried one last week. They are so fucking gross. Like, pumpkin pie should not be disgusting. It should never taste disgusting. This one was very, very... what's a good way to describe it? It was like sticky sweet. Like, and that's not pumpkin pie to me, you know? It should not taste like... it had the texture of like a Bavarian cream-filled donut. And it was just, it felt like they just dumped sugar into the thing. It's fucking gross.
I've had it. I know what you're talking about. For me, it's just I haven't had a lot of homemade pumpkin pie, so the standard for me is Walmart pumpkin pie. I would need to be introduced to what the good pumpkin pie is to really understand.
So a step up from the pre-made stuff would be you go get yourself a pie shell, because those are fucking hard to make. And if you don't know how to do the pumpkin stuff and whatnot, get the pre-made, the canned pumpkin stuff, and then just cook it that way. It's so much better than whatever fucking Walmart does.
I might try that.
Yeah.
Speaking of trying, that is all the questions that we have. So I think we will begin trying to wrap this up. So, with that in mind, what can we expect coming down the pipe for either your FimPic user or your alt, Breathtaking Carnality?
Breathtaking Carnality. Don't have any stories in the works at the moment. There's this fic I plan on writing that's going to coincide with this other fic that I want to promote here. Keep an eye out for Peak Scorch. That is the fic based on my OC character. I am currently in the 3rd act right now. I hope to finish it very soon. It's not going to be out for a while because my editors still have to go through it, and I have to wait to get a job so that I can have money and I can pay for a cover art because this story really needs a cover art. But the story is going to be about Pink Scorch. Obviously, there's Winter Heat and there's Claire. Claire is Winter Heat's demon companion, and when they combine, they become like this demon hybrid called Pink Scorch. And the villain of the story is this mare named Juice Mare. The whole premise behind her character is she is completely obsessed with health. None of her motives make sense, and she keeps making up excuses on why she's a villain. That is the entire premise behind Pink Scorch. And I plan on developing this character throughout multiple stories, kind of franchising a little bit. And once I feel comfortable with writing again, because it's kind of just getting back into the groove after working so much, I plan on writing it in NSFW version for my alt accounts. So yeah, it's something for everybody. There you go. And if you actually are looking forward to the story, you can just DM me, and I will just send you the Google Docs I'm writing on, because I want people to read it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, with that said, if someone catches this and then all of a sudden you are now the coolest, best writer on film fiction ever, what's the best way for them to reach out to you to ask questions?
Discord, FimFiction. I have Twitter. I have a DeviantArt I barely go on, but I might see your message when I randomly decide to check it eventually.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, in that case, then, I want to thank everyone for coming in to join us today. We topped out somewhere around 11 viewers, and thank you for everyone who asked questions. And of course, Muggonny, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today.
Yay! That I've been trying to get on forever, so it's satisfying that I'm finally here.
Yeah, we're really stoked that we now have an area in our Discord where we are paying much closer attention to people who are actively interested in coming on. We don't generally like to do duplicates, but I mean, I think enthusiasm for actually wanting to come onto the cast goes a long way. So if you know a friend who deserves some spotlight in the My Little Pony fandom, please give them a recommendation in our Discord channel. Links to that on our website. Alex left and can't post the links now. Sad face. But there are links on our Twitch page and in our YouTube description. So, with that in mind, fun thing. After we do our readout, we're gonna go raid Fiora's stream. We're gonna go send everyone over to Fiora. So be sure to stay around and send her love and tell them the Barcast sent you. Your Barcasts for today have been Enigmatic Otaku.
I had a day.
Fireman Warfer.
Yeah.
Milk.
Day has been day.
Ravage.
I think I still exist.
Our amazing guest, Muggonny.
I just ordered in here. I have no idea why you guys ask me so many questions. Goddamn.
And I'm going to go watch a 5-minute video explaining what Spyro has to do with Subway. So.
No!
Have a day. Have your day. Have your. Goodbye. Go.
Whopper.
Let's go. Fiora. All right, I'm going to say, okay, got it. And